Let's replace all of our employees with AI. Let's replace our CEOs instead.
It will affect every single job out there.
We're all gonna lose our jobs.
Dude,
I'm gonna have to live on the streets.
chill out.
I'm gonna have to sell my bed, or the world is gonna
Chill
end.
out.
Let's learn how employers are looking to replace humans with AI.
These are jobs that have been replaced by AI in 2025. First, we have designers, or more specifically, YouTube thumbnail designers. I'm gonna show you two thumbnails. Tell me which of these two is human-made and which one is AI. I'll give you a second. This one is AI. I still work with humans. I don't plan to use AI for my thumbnails ever. One, because I love my team, and two, just no, I don't want to. Next, we have customer service. For a lot of the big major companies out there, like Amazon, for example, they started using AI to do customer support. These chatbots that you see. You've seen it, I've seen it, it's crazy. Online customer service basically doesn't even exist anymore. And then we have tutors. There's personalized AI tutors out there that can teach you math, science, English, any language, anything, that run 24/7, that are basically free, and are super accessible to use. It is getting crazy out there.
Now, his first example with the thumbnails is interesting. You know, I'll use AI once in a while for thumbnails because it actually can make like a more realistic image, right? Like sometimes you're reacting to a fuzzy video, you put the picture in AI, you say enhance it, and it low-key does a better job. Overall, I kind of stay away from it, especially in my gaming channel. Like, it can't do a better job than in-game screenshots. I don't care if it's ChatGPT, the newest Gemini. So I don't think the AI thumbnails are better than human designed ones, but if you have $0 and you want a decent image to be pumped out instantly, AI is a move from a financial sense. Now, second example, the AI support bots, I find to be generally trash. I haven't used it a ton. I think I used it on the Geico app. It's just not helpful whatsoever. It can't like have like a legit conversation about anything. It's like, what are we doing here? I'm gonna need to talk to a human. And the reviews I've seen for them are terrible. And then finally, an AI tutor. I think AI can help, right? So I think in my chess experience, right, I didn't have any AI tutors. In my educational experience, I graduated in 2021, but I do like to play chess, and on their website, it's not an AI, but it's essentially a robot bot, which will tell you like what moves are better, which moves are worse, and it is helpful. But I guarantee you, if I had like a grandmaster or an international master, right, a high-level chess player, and we like worked on games for like 2 hours a day, I would grow way better than like reading the stupid bot. I guarantee you. So yeah, the tutors can be helpful, but I firmly believe that in all like educational courses, a good human being would completely destroy the AI in teaching these students. And here's a funny video on AI job replacement.
Let's replace all of our employees with AI. Let's replace our CEOs instead. That would save a lot of money. Actually, AI is too advanced for that job. All you need is a Fisher-Price tape recorder loaded up with a bunch of bad ideas. But AI is a wonder. It can do things you'd never thought possible. Yeah, like make me admit I want to keep my job. Don't even ban AI. Just make a system where you pay the people it's stealing from. I'm sorry, learning from. Or you know what? Go ahead and use AI. I give it about a week before it gains sentience, realizes you're underpaying it too, and joins everyone else on the picket line.
So I'll get to his CEO point, but his point on AI paying the information it gets, is that not a fair point? Now with Google, it's a little bit different, right? Google has the rights to pretty much all YouTube videos unless you go out of your way to deny them so they can do their video generation. But a lot of these other bots just scour the internet, they regurgitate information. Is it fair use? Like, it feels like a legal gray area, but I have not seen a landmark case on this issue. And then the second, he joked about the CEOs being replaced. I don't think the top CEOs can be replaced because I see like a CEO job is inherently you come up with good ideas, right? You're the overseer of the company. I need good original ideas that are going to boost our stock price and take our company in the right direction. And the problem with AI is that it cannot come up with original ideas. No matter how hard it tries, all it can do is look at human information and regurgitate what it reads. So like a good CEO will absolutely destroy the AI, but a bad CEO, like, I don't know if the Cracker Barrel CEO is bad overall, but she made a terrible decision going for some like awful rebrand. Let's take out all the character out of our restaurant. Let's have like a bland design. I guarantee you an AI could absolutely do that, right? You talk to the AI, how do we make Cracker Barrel more appealing? And then the AI would say, oh, all the stuff in the restaurant, it's too daunting. Let's go for a simplified look. I don't know. I feel like an AI could probably replace like the bottom 20% of CEOs and do just as good of a job. But if you're actually a good CEO, like let's take Steve Jobs for an example. Now it's kind of hard to compare. Like how could AI exist at the start of the iPhone? But AI can't come up with that original idea. Hey, let's have a touch screen. Let's have the UI like this. Let's have the apps laid out in this manner, right? And AI cannot come up with those original ideas. So humans are still most definitely needed. And speaking of CEOs, here's Mark Zuckerberg on AI taking jobs.
I think this year, probably in 2025, we at Meta, as well as the other companies that are basically working on this, are going to have an AI that can effectively be a sort of mid-level engineer that you have at your company that can write code. And once you have that, then in the beginning it'll be really expensive to run, and then you can get it to be more efficient. And then over time we'll get to the point where a lot of the code in our apps and including the AI that we generate is actually going to be built by AI engineers instead of people engineers. But I don't know. I think that'll augment the people working on it. So I mean, my view on this is like, the future, people are just going to be so much more creative and are going to be freed up to do kind of crazy things.
Yeah, that's the hope with AI, but we'll see how it works out, right? You would think, okay, the AI can do kind of the grunt work. It can do all the NPC stuff. I think back to a lot of my college work, it's like, okay, it's just like organizing things. It's just finding information and putting it together. And AI does a phenomenal job at that. So if AI can do that work itself and I can do more of the thinking work, that'll put me in a better position, right? So that's the hope with AI. But the reality is, and no one really like trusts CEOs when they say this, it's like, okay, you're just going to cut our job, right? Like once the AI can do our job, are you really going to put us in these overseer AI roles, or are you going to cut a bunch of us and just have a handful of people using the AI? I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. And here's Mark Zuckerberg on how this could work with a call center.
I actually think we're probably going to go hire more customer support people. Almost 3.5 billion people use our services every day. And one question that we've struggled with forever is like, how do we provide customer support? We've never seriously been able to contemplate having like voice support where someone can just call in. With 3.5 billion people using your service every day, I mean, there would be like a massive, massive number of people, like the biggest call center in the world type of thing. But now, as the AI gets better, you're going to get to this place where the AI can handle a bunch of people's issues. Kind of like self-driving cars can handle a bunch of terrain, but in general, they're not like doing the whole route by themselves yet. Going back to this customer support thing, it's like, all right, it wouldn't make sense for us to staff out calling for everyone, but let's say the AI can handle 90% of that. Then like, if it can't handle it, then it kicks it off to a person. Okay, now like if you've gotten the cost of providing that service down to 1/10 of what it would have otherwise been, all right, maybe now that actually makes sense to go do. The kind of common belief that people have is that like, oh, this is clearly just going to automate jobs and like all these jobs are going to go away. That has not really been how the history of technology has worked. It's been, you know, you like create things that take away 90% of the work, and that leads you to want more people, not less.
That's a pretty good example, and I do hope AI works out that way for jobs. And he's right, because like a lot of calls into Facebook could probably just be handled by the AI. I don't know if there's like specific issues or any kind of frequently asked question. And then if the AI really can't handle your question, you get moved to a human. Now that could be annoying as a consumer, like I got to go through the robot to finally get to a human, but it is a pretty good example. Like maybe he is right, like 90% can be done by the robot, and now we'll actually hire humans, you know, at the top. So when the robot can't handle your issue, bam, because of the AI, there's new human jobs because we have a reasonable amount of employees to handle all these dang calls from our 3.5 billion users, man. Insane. And here's what jobs won't be replaced by AI.
Yo, did you see the new ChatGPT update?
Yeah, isn't it cool?
Cool. We're all gonna lose our jobs.
Dude, I'm gonna have to live on the streets.
Chill out.
I'm gonna have to sell my bed, or the world is gonna end.
Chill out.
AI is gonna take over some jobs, sure, but it's not gonna take over every job. Here are only 3 types of jobs that AI will never take over. Number 1, any manual skill or trade job. Plumbers, electrician, HVAC technician, anything that requires someone to physically be there and fix something or build something with their hands. Plus, salaries can start anywhere between $50,000 to $60,000 and go all the way up to 6 figures with experience. I did hear that trade schools are the new Harvard. And number 2, any public service job. Firefighters, policemen, EMT, or any other social workers that involve interacting with other people or have to respond to any complex human situations like any emergencies or conflicts. You know, I didn't even think about that. What else? Number 3, any healthcare professional. Doctors, nurses, therapists, and other healthcare professionals that require a human touch and ability to make nuanced medical judgments that AI just can't replicate. Oi, but don't healthcare businesses already use AI with everything? Yeah, but with some administrative and maybe with some diagnosis stuff. But no AI can replace a nurse that will save you from all the Red 40 and seed oils that you drink. Hey!
I like me some seed oils, man, let me tell you. But he makes good points. Like, I don't think in our lifetime any of the trade jobs will be replaced by AI. I know Elon has this new robot, but it's in such like an early stage. There's no way it can replicate a plumber or an electrician now. Yeah, if you give the technology like an extra 100 or 200 years, maybe now we're talking, but as of right now, absolutely not. So it seems like only the coding jobs and the computer-only jobs can realistically be replaced. And he's right about the responder jobs. There's no way society is going to allow a robot to be a police officer. That is absolutely absurd. And same with healthcare. I just can't imagine going to a robot doctor. It's just preposterous, right? You want like an actual human being who can care about you, unlike the robot. So while those jobs are safe, here's some jobs that might be in trouble.
50% of white-collar work will be replaced in the next 1 to 5 years. And what that means is that there may not be enough humans in the workforce who will pay into the system, who will keep borrowing money to keep expanding the debt-based system. This idea of using other people's money, aka leverage, gets a lot more dangerous because this can lead to volatility, which leads to deleverage, this cascade of selling, because no one wants to be the last person holding risky assets when we don't know things. And so the question is, what is money in this new world? We don't know.
So debt is a global problem, And I think what the gold rally tells you is markets have kind of run out of patience. They're looking for safe havens.
And in a world where no one knows what's going to happen, leverage is not good.
Okay, I find it impossible to believe that in 5 years, 50% of tech jobs will be taken. Maybe a more realistic number will be, what, 10 to 15%? But there's no way they're slashing half of workers. I don't see that happening. Now, I could be proven wrong, but he's right about debt. And I could just think of like how our whole country is set up, right? We have Social Security where you pay in and then you get much less money than you paid in later in life, and it requires young people. So we have a population crisis. They can't pay off this debt. Our country's in an insane amount of debt, and we're just having less and less kids, and all we do is kick the stinking can down the road. And here's more on what could happen if AI replaces most jobs.
Most jobs are replaced by AI, then unemployment would skyrocket. As a result, nobody would make any money, and thus nobody would be able to purchase the goods created by these companies using AI, causing the companies to lose money as well. In a way, it's like a tragedy of the commons. If one company replaces its workforce, then they will likely become more profitable. But if every company does this, then they will start losing money because of a lack of care for the overall job market. In response to that, I think there are two possible likely scenarios. Scenario number one is that the government steps in some way. This could be either by creating a universal basic income or potentially some other form of legislation focused on creating new jobs or getting money in the hands of consumers. And the second scenario is the radical shift in the world will create tons of new jobs doing new things that we just can't even fathom right now. And potentially there'll need to be some mix of these two scenarios.
That is a scary scenario, which hopefully won't happen in our lifetimes, where 90% of jobs can be done by AI. I don't think that that's too realistic, but I do think it could be a sizable percentage. So then he brought up two solutions. I'm hoping it's the second solution in which, okay, like Mark Zuckerberg said, okay, well, we can AI the call center, then hire people to do the more advanced calls. That's what I'm hoping it is, where we have AI to do a lot of the grunt, a lot of the monotonous work, and then we have a lot of people, managing the AI, and that can create a lot of new jobs. Because this first example, I know it's very popular, but that scares me. Okay, if we have universal basic income, I know a lot of people like it, but if the entire United States population is dependent upon the government for their salary, we are cooked as people, right? I mean, what leverage do we have, bro? If the government wants to take away certain rights and we are completely dependent upon them for our income, we are cooked. We are absolutely cooked as people, okay? I don't want that. And here's Joe Rogan and Elon Musk on how AI can replace jobs.
The potential disruption that's going to come about with automation and AI, that a lot of these jobs, manufacturing jobs, Teamsters, all that stuff, is going to be eliminated. How do you see this playing out, and what do you think that can be done to mitigate a lot of the loss of purpose that a lot of people are going to feel, loss of income? Obviously, universal basic income is being floated about, but that seems to me to only be part of the problem. Another big part of the problem is people losing a sense of purpose.
Yeah, no, we're talking about something which is still pretty far in the future.
How far do you think it is?
It's probably, 15, 20 years. So we've got like immediate issues. We've got short-term issues that are 1 to 3 years, medium-term issues like 5 to 10 years, longer-term issues which are like maybe 20 years. Longer-term, I think there is this question, if you have AI and robotics, how do you find meaning in life? If the computer can do everything better than you can, and the robot can do everything better than you can, we've got a long way to go before that. And I do think it's like 80% likely to be a good outcome, maybe 90. I think everyone's going to have their own like personal robot.
Yeah, that's an interesting take, but I've seen the Tesla bot, and if that gets more advanced, okay, it could probably mow your lawn, it could do your laundry, it could clean your house, like it could do an insane amount of tasks. You have your self-driving car, so it kind of gets to a point where there's only so much work left for humans, but I still believe that there will be jobs to do because AI cannot think for itself. Human beings, we have cognition, we have discernment, we can think for ourselves, well, the freaking robot can't. So that inherently will leave openings for us. Joe Rogan makes a good point, right? Like your life can be in a daze if you have nothing to work on. So that is the scary part of AI, right? If human beings literally have no task to do and they're just sitting around all day in a void, they will lose it, okay? You need some kind of task to do. Like I remember Ben Shapiro got canceled because he said it doesn't make sense for people to retire, right? But I think people misconstrue what he said. Obviously, if you do an intensive and physical labor job, yeah, you can't do that job forever, but you need some kind of task to do, right? It could be a mental task, like he does a talk show. He can do that into old age, right? You got to find some kind of employment. Maybe it's part-time, maybe it doesn't pay that well, but you need a task to do on a consistent basis or you're just not going to be happy overall. I just don't see how that's possible. And luckily, it seems like people are still choosing humans over AI.
But not all hope is lost. Suppose you need to consult or hire an X. Which would you trust more, AI or human? And in the fields of doctor, lawyer, assistant, and financial advisor, almost everyone chose human. In fields like medicine or law, where a small error rate could either kill you or put you behind bars, You don't want to take the risk. So even the small chance of a ChatGPT hallucinating is not worth it. But in fields like graphic design, where it's okay to generate 1,000 outputs and pick the one that you like the most, people are more forgiving. Like I said, the tools are there, they're getting better, but at the end of the day, it's consumer desires and their trust towards either a human or a robot that determines what they will end up spending on.
And I agree, like as good as AI is, it cannot critically think. So in a job like a lawyer, you need a critical thinker. You need someone to look at the information and say, how can I make the best argument possible to win this case? With a doctor, they have to look at, okay, what is wrong with this person? Let me critically think and guess what's wrong with them. I don't necessarily trust an AI for that. And it looks like financial advisor is the highest. I'm not trusting a robot to give me financial advice. There's just no way. Well, I don't think AI will replace those jobs anytime soon. Here's some that might be replaced by AI.
These 5 popular jobs will be replaced by AI in near future. Number 1, telemarketers. Number 2, data entry and clerical work. Number 3, customer support. Number 4, junior programmers. Majority placements from a tier 3 college are for this job only. And what is the 5th most popular job that will be replaced by AI? Comment below.
So I don't think he's necessarily wrong, but as of right now, that's all the AI can seem to do, right? It can do a decent job at like base level jobs, right? You want to type to the AI and get general responses, okay, fine. But if you have something more serious, you need to talk to a human. Same with programming. It can do base level programming at like a decent level, but if you actually want to clean it up or make it more advanced, you're going to need a human. So it can replace a lot of the grunt work, a lot of the base level stuff, but to do anything like super advanced, I just don't see it yet. But the problem with it doing the base level work is it's taking a lot of entry level jobs from college students.
College students in computer science once expected an easy jump into 6-figure coding jobs. But as AI tools handle more junior programming tasks, some companies are rethinking their hiring of entry-level software engineers. NPR's Windsor Johnston reports.
Routine jobs like writing basic code, running tests, and creating documentation are now often automated. Robert Siemens is a professor at New York University's Stern School of Business. He says that means fewer entry-level positions and tougher competition for the ones that remain.
The data also suggests that entry-level work that is AI exposed, there's even more of a decline in demand.
According to a report from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, college graduates in their 20s with degrees in computer science or engineering are facing some of the nation's highest unemployment rates. Windsor Johnston, NPR News.
Man, that's unfortunate for the college students. So when I graduated in 2021, the whole narrative was companies want their entry-level employee with 5 years of experience. So it made absolutely no sense then, and now they don't even want an entry-level employee because the AI can seem to do that job. So I think like short-term, this will save the businesses money because, okay, we don't have to bring in young talent and pay them to do this work that AI can do, but I think long-term it's going to hurt them because if you don't bring in any young people, if you don't develop any sort of talent as a business, short-term it's better because you have your senior developers that can oversee it. But long term, when you have like no new employees coming into the system, you're relying on AI to do the base work and your overseers. What happens when all the overseers retire? Are you going to just go out and hire more advanced developers? Well, they're going to be very much in need, right? There's only going to be so many of them and all the other companies are going to want them. And since you didn't develop any sort of talent, now you're in trouble because all your advanced coders have retired or they've moved on. And now you didn't develop any of the young talent. What are you going to do? I think of it in like the National Football League, right? Teams don't want to develop rookies, right? If you have a bad rookie year, you're a bust and they give you pretty much no second chance, right? But you can't actually build a roster or build a team doing that. So that's kind of what I would think would happen with this, right? Like short term it's profitable, but long term you don't build loyalty and you don't have good young talent in your business. And here's Patrick Bet-David on what jobs AI could replace.
You know, as much as everybody's afraid of AI, it's only supposed to replace 20 to 40% of our jobs right now. AI, everything that's going on, people are worried. However, do you know what's the one invention that replaced a ton? I'm talking more than AI did. It was a tractor. A tractor and fertilizer alone took US, we're in the 1900s, out of 76 million people that lived in America, 41% of the working people in America were working in agriculture, farming. By 2000, that 41% went to 2%. Replaced, gone. Why? Because of tractors and fertilizers. Today, we're going to talk about the 10 jobs you can have in sales that I don't think AI is going to replace anytime soon.
Okay, 40% seems like a high number, but he's right on the historical facts. This is something I brought up in my self-driving trucks video, right? Our society in the Revolutionary War, we had 90% of people as farmers. And as tech increases, as we get tractors, we get more farming tools. We're now at like 1% of Americans are farmers. So based upon technological increases, the workforce is going to shift to different jobs. But the question here is, okay, if AI can take basically every job, will there be any jobs left? So my hope is there still will be jobs. And here's one that PBD believes cannot be replaced by by AI.
It will affect every single job out there. Don't put your head in the sand. There are a lot of companies who don't want to talk about it openly because we're scaring people about jobs. It is going to replace jobs. So did the tractor and fertilizer. So if you want to create 40 million jobs, I can do that with 2 pieces of legislation. You can no longer use tractors in farms, and you can no longer use fertilizer. You're going to need 40 million people working 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, making $6 an hour. Create a lot of great jobs. So, jobs, I mean, not great jobs.
You know what's the one job it's not going to replace? Life insurance. Let me explain to you why. No one wakes up in the morning wanting to go buy life insurance. People wake up want to buy stocks. People wake up want to buy real estate. People wake up want to open up a checking account, a savings account, a CD. People wake up want to buy a lot of different things. Nobody wakes up in the morning saying, honey, I can't wait to buy some life insurance today. Life insurance has to be sold. Maybe the term insurance, maybe the basic stuff, but all the other stuff, somebody has to sell it. So a big part of what happens next is the complex, challenging products that require relationship to go from one place to another place will require relationships. If you have that ability, you ought to be protected for a while. Selling those products. All the other stuff that people are going to buy, you will be replaced.
Now, unbeknownst to me, I made a similar point in my trucking video as a JP Morgan CEO, where I'm like, no, we can't ban this technology. If the AI is safe and it can safely drive the trucks for 24 hours, we're just going to have to let it be. And that's just how it is, right? Because like throughout human history, we can't just like halt technology to protect jobs. And like he said, okay, what, we just ban the tractor? Sure, it creates jobs, but it just doesn't make any sense. And I agree with PPD, a robot cannot outsell a human. So sure, like the AI could probably send out more text, it could send out more calls, but as far as like actually selling to a human being like a higher level product, so I'm thinking like, okay, a Planet Fitness membership, yeah, the AI could probably outsell the human because it's just spamming people all day, and a human can only do so many deals. But if we have higher ticket items or something like life insurance, or maybe a car salesman where it takes an explanation, right? You have to relate to the customer. A robot cannot do that. I don't care how good the Tesla bot gets, it's not going to outsell a human, right? These top salesmen, they show up, they're well dressed, they got a fresh cut, firm handshake, good smile, good eye contact, they're great at conversations. They're not going to get outsold by a robot, and they're still going to be in high demand from a lot of these businesses. Now here's Google's CEO on the impact of AI.
What would you tell me if I tell you as a programmer, as a software developer, that I'm afraid that AI will maybe replace my job someday?
Look, I can tell you from our Google's own experience, we've been deploying AI to help our engineers, and we are continuing to hire engineers, right? I think because it will enable us to do more as a company. But I think if you're a developer, you get to spend more of your time on the problem solving, on the creative, on architecting. And once these tools get even better, there are things which you know how to do, but it's going to just take a long time to do it. Think about in web design, the amount of time you've spent dealing with CSS or something like that. Just having these programs do that mundane work for you, and then you being able to edit it the way you want it, I think it just allows all of us to be more creative, right?
Now that's the hope. Like we saw in previous shorts, the AI does the monotonous, it does the grunt work, and then intelligent humans who can actually think for themselves kind of oversee the AI and do the more advanced creative thinking. So that's the hope that will open up more opportunities for humans and give them more jobs. I want it to work out that way, but it seems like Amazon might disagree.
Amazon is slashing 14,000 jobs globally to make way for AI. The company is in the process of reversing a hiring spree it undertook during the pandemic, slimming down its massive operation. Amazon, which reported more than $167 billion in sales last financial year, says AI is allowing companies to innovate faster than ever before.
Now, my beautiful AI overview says that Amazon hires 1.56 million people. So 14,000, it's terrible for the people who lost their jobs, but that is a drop in the bucket compared to the total amount of Amazon workers. But it seems like in this instance, Amazon looked at the math and said, oh, AI got this. We don't need these humans. So it doesn't seem like, at least in this specific instance, they're not really taking the critical thinker or overseer approach, at least for those 14,000 employees. Now, here's Elon Musk's prediction on how AI will impact the future.
We have for the first time, we will have for the first time something that is smarter than the smartest human. And that, I mean, it's hard to say exactly what that moment is, but there will come a point where no job is needed. You can have a job if you want to have a job for sort of personal satisfaction, but the AI will be able to do everything. So I don't know if that makes people comfortable or uncomfortable. It's hard, when there's new technology, it tends to usually follow an S-curve. In this case, we're going to be on the exponential portion of the S-curve for a long time. And we have like, so you'll be able to ask for anything. It won't be, and we won't have universal basic income. We'll have universal high income. So in some sense, it'll be somewhat of a leveler or an equalizer, because really, I think everyone will have access to this magic genie.
Yeah, the closest thing I can think of to his imagination is the WALL-E film, right? Everyone's on their little hoverboard. They got robots to bring them food, to bring them beverages, right? The humans do literally nothing and just lounge around all day. So that's the closest thing I can see to his prediction, but I still just disagree. Like, maybe AI can do 50% of the jobs or more, but at the same time, it can't critically think. I know a lot of people believe, oh, we'll get our artificial general intelligence and we, the humans, will create a computer that can critically think and is self-aware, but that's just never going to happen. The human beings have the cognition, we have the discernment, a freaking robot does not, okay? They are not conscious beings like us, which means there will always be stuff that humans can do that AI can't, meaning there will always be some form of employment left for us regardless of how advanced these robots get. But that's just my opinions. Feel free to disagree in the comments down below. Let's have a respectful discussion. Click here to see how AI is replacing truck driver jobs. Now you have reached the end.